This video is for all those men out there who think they just can't see their way clear to vote for a woman for president. So let me get this straight. So you think we're strong enough to do everything that's involved in taking care of a household and taking care of your children and taking care of you and still going to work?
No.
You think that we're strong enough to take care of your sick children, to take care of your sick parents, to take care of the sick neighbors, to run that household and still go to work?
No.
You think that we're strong enough to go to work for 8.5 months pregnant, push out a child, and then turn around and go back to work? You think that we're strong enough to bleed 5 days a month and be in pain all of that time and still go to work? You think that we're strong enough to go to work with breast cancer? You think that we're strong enough? Most of us have been SA'd sometime in our life, and you think we're strong enough to go to work and do all of those other things and work beside you for less money and resist the urge to do violence on you, but we're not strong enough to be president? I want to tell you something.
Yeah, nobody said
when
that.
When Kamala Harris is president and January 6th rolls around, and all those guys gather at the Capitol like they did once before, and they think they're going to take matters into their own hands, I can guarantee you one thing. She's not going to be sitting at the White House watching it live on TV and throwing cheeseburgers at the wall. No. She's going to roll up her sleeves and she's going to get in there and she's going to take care of business. And I guarantee you one thing, when she finishes taking care of business, you're going to know business was taken care of. Vote for the woman, because we are strong enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates, cuckolds of all ages, it's that time once again. It's time for Mild's Culture Plate. I am your host, Mild Kevin Miles, and it is Saturday, October 19th, 2024, and we're locked and loaded for an hour of goodness. Folks, let me just start off by doing the usual. Welcome to the show. If you're in the chat, come on in, say hello, let me know you're out there, give me a little comment. Anyone who comments, I'll show your chat on the screen. I'm starting out with the last little bit of Four Roses from the last stream. Gonna go ahead and finish it off. There's about half a glass there, half a serving. So if I finish it off, which I'm assuming I will, hopefully y'all come in, say hi. I'll give you a toast. I'll give you a toast of the Four Roses, and if I finish off the rest of this little bit of Four Roses, I'll go pour some Willet in the glass and kind of finish off the show with. Yeah, so what's up with that lady? Cheers. You know, she brings up the highlight of my entire existence, and that is conflating a bunch of shit that has nothing to do with one another. And not only that, but acting like super aggressive. You know, I find it funny she mentioned January 6th because there's this narrative out there that men are aggressive, that conservatives are aggressive, that we're violent. And this goes to show that it's these people, it's these quote unquote empathetic, bleeding heart liberals, these leftists that are, you know, it keeps on showing that they're the aggressive ones. Anyway, folks, so yeah, we have an interesting show. We're going to get into some political topics. We're going to get into some of the things that have been going on in the election. We're going to be getting into a lot of gender issues on the show. And so, yeah, she pointed out a bunch of things, and you notice she she finished off almost every sentence there with, and expect us to work. I mean, look, no one, we were the ones, men, we were the ones, conservatives, men, we were the ones told that expecting a woman to stay home and do those things was a patriarchy, was oppressive. Nobody told you to get pregnant. Nobody told you to go to work. If you chose to do those things or you needed to do those things to survive, that's real different than conservatives or men telling you what to do. And it's not like men don't have similar things on their plate. Like you wanted equality. Now, granted, we don't have the whole giving birth and periods, but quite frankly, we're not going to have that held over our heads for the rest of eternity. I mean, we've gave you a seat at the table. We gave you an option. You chose the what options you could take. And this idea that, oh, we have to vote for the vagina. No, I don't have to do anything. Which brings me to my next point. It's getting to be the time when we're not going to tolerate the intolerance. When we speak our truth, the truth. I hate that our truth bullshit. But we have faced a situation in this country where every identity and demographic has had their say, has been able to speak their truth, has been able to talk about the things they have going on. And we're going to get back into this specific topic later in the show. But it's only been the last 5 years that men's rights have caught on in the zeitgeist. And even then, like, we get shouted down. I had a long conversation with someone close to me the other day about this very topic. We get shouted down. We get statistics thrown at us that are incorrect and lies. Pretty much the same playbook that they use for the election and everything else. Every media news story, COVID, you name it. And we might get into some topics about misinformation and stuff. But quite frankly, the propaganda is not going to work anymore. It works on ladies like we just saw. But more people are understanding what the fuck's going on, and they're not putting up with it. So, anyway, in election news, there was this Al Smith dinner. And I'm sure if you've been following online commentators, you saw some of these jokes. I just wanted to give it a couple minutes on my show just so that I could react to some of these jokes to you folks. I've heard some things about this. Colin Rugg. Apparently, Trump went on to talk for like 45 minutes, from what I've heard, and told a lot of zingers. So this kind of a roast for I think a Catholic charity or something. But Colin Rugg posted a top 5 jokes video, and we'll listen to these and react to them, and I'll give a little commentary here.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz. Well,
I mean, I mean, look, to me that joke didn't land because it kind of plays into that narrative, right? I don't know. To me, it wasn't fun.
I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. There's a
Look, Mayor Adams has enough problems right now. You know, folks, if you're not familiar with what's going on with Mayor Eric Adams of New York City, look up that story. It's probably something I should have been covering on this show all along. But man, New York's just in bad shape. And for all you folks out there on the East Coast, especially in New York City, I really feel for you folks. I'm sorry you have to go through what you're going through with the immigration and with the mayor. And hey, it is what it is. All right, so here we go. There's a
group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me.
Okay, so now I got to take beef with Colin Rugg here because this being number 3 and not number 1, holy shit. That line, the ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States just made a cuckold joke. Literally telling the men of America. You had Joe Biden 4 years ago go on Charlemagne the God and said, if you don't know whether to vote for him or for me, you ain't black. And now you've got Donald Trump essentially saying, if you vote for her, you're a cuck. If you vote for her, like the white dudes who vote for her, it's okay. Your votes ain't going to count because your wife and your wife's boyfriend are voting for me. Like your vote will be canceled out by the two people, by your wife and her lover. Oh, I mean, that was such a genius joke. Like, I hope Donald Trump wrote it himself. I know a lot of these speeches, they have help, but dear Lord, that was fucking golden. All right, let's listen to the last two.
A major issue of this race is childcare, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep.
So, yeah, there's this. Yeah, he got the nanny pregnant.
From away. That's a nasty one. Chuck.
Okay, so now again, I would put that one at number 2. I guess it was at number 2, but still, I would put the cuck joke ahead, and the Chuck Schumer joke here I would put a little lower. But here we go.
Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
Yeah, I think that one should be lower on the list. But anyway, so there you have it. You have the President of the United States, the former President of the United States, with humor. Now, what's his opponent think is humorous? What kind of a sense of humor does Kamala Harris have? Well, let's hear what this woman has to say about it.
So a few weeks ago, I attended the Trump rally here in my town. Before I dive into what I'm about to share, here's a peek at that. Well, today I found out that Kamala Harris was coming to my town, so I decided to go. I wanted to see the differences. Notably, I had to show my ID to get in to see her, but Anyway, I was making a video
not to vote.
talking actually about how sad I was that the loudest cheering at the rather small event came in support of abortion when I panned over to the crowd and to her speaking, and I caught something I wasn't expecting. Check it out. Not a lot of energy here, but everyone just cheered and screamed for killing babies. So that was disappointing. Anyway, here she is. Did you hear that? Some guy in the crowd shouted, "Jesus is Lord." And Kamala said, "I think you're at the wrong rally." And then she said, "Try the smaller one down the street." Everyone laughed and laughed and cheered, but I was at that rally. There were almost 7,000 people at it. Today they said there were 2,500. Nobody waiting. Open spaces. I wanted everyone who's a believer to hear that for themselves.
Again, we're not going to be gaslighted on this. We remember Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
Yeah. Yeah, you could clearly hear the Jesus is Lord.
No,
So-
I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
So, a lot of people have given Trump shit for the debate performance and how he got bogged down with her on the crowd size argument, right? Rightly so. I think it's bullshit to be talking. I mean, look, let the media talk about it, maybe talk about it to the media, but at your rallies and in TV appearances, in the big events, crowd size isn't an important topic. It's not one of the gripping issues of America. You're there to talk policy. So for her to use this moment to take a heckler, let's be honest, even though he's saying Jesus is Lord, it's still heckling to interrupt a speech with an off-topic statement. Now, granted, you could argue it wasn't off-topic because she was talking about abortion. But to interrupt a speaker from the audience, like that's heckling. He was a heckler. Now, but for her to respond, essentially, like she's trying to make the crowd size joke, right? Her brain probably processed this and was like, go there. But like, this is a huge mistake because what she's doing here is the opposite of what we saw Trump say, right? Trump's like, okay, if you don't vote for me, you're a cuck, right? And then the message she's putting out, oh, if you're Christian and you're Democrat, well, you're supporting the wrong party. You're here at the wrong celebration. You're at the wrong crowd, the wrong rally. If you're Christian, you should just go. So that's way different than what Trump did and what Biden did with the "you're not black," right? Which, don't get me wrong, both are very exclusive. Like this whole strategy is a exclusivity, right? It's saying, there's an in-group and an out-group preference here. But what Trump and Biden both did in those statements is like, no, you want to be a part of the in-group. Come on in. What Kamala Harris has done here is say, no, we don't want you here. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. It's a bold strategy. Let's see if it pays off. see here. We got a couple clips from Elon Musk's interview on the BBC I wanted to touch on for just a minute. Let's go ahead and bring that up.
COVID misinformation.
Amazing.
You've changed the COVID misinformation.
Has
rules.
BBC changed its COVID misinformation?
The BBC does not set the rules on Twitter, so I'm asking you.
No.
So here we go. And again, you don't fucking hate journalists enough. I say this all the time. You don't hate journalists enough. You invited the world's richest man to sit and have a conversation. And look, I fully agree with going hard in the paint. But the guy just dead named Twitter, right? I do it every once in a while, but you just did it to his face while pushing at him on COVID misinformation labeling. Like, you picked one of the pettiest topics to go after a guy for, and then you're going to essentially insult him by not respecting the brand he has built. Now, look, I fucking hate the name X. I use Twitter. I say Twitter all the fucking time. But if Elon Musk was sitting here in my office and I had a chance to interview him, I would be XXXXX. Do not say Twitter. Do not say Twitter. It's a respect thing. You don't hate journalists enough. He's doing it on fucking purpose. I guarantee it.
No, I'm talking about the BBC's misinformation about COVID.
I'm literally asking you about, you changed the labels, the COVID misinformation.
Oh, he doesn't want to talk about BBC.
Policy, it then disappeared. Why do that?
Well, COVID is no longer an issue. Does the BBC hold itself at all responsible for misinformation regarding masking and side effects of vaccinations? And not reporting on that at all?
Uh-oh.
And what about the fact that the BBC was put under pressure by the British government to change its editorial policy? Are you aware of that?
This is not an interview about the BBC.
Oh, so. You thought it was?
Oh, yeah, you thought it wasn't.
I see now why you've done.
Elon Musk. Oh, fucking thank you. Like, you sit me down for an interview, and then you want to set the terms of what topics can be discussed? I mean, imagine the fucking outrage that BBC reporters and anchors would have if Elon was like, no, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. Right? And look, I get it. As a news outlet, right? Your point, your job is to go out and dig for the news. But when the subjects of your news rightly call you out as part of the news, you have to address it. You have to address it. And then the guy continues to dodge.
Twitter Spaces. I am not a representative of the BBC's
and again,
editorial policy. I want to make that clear. Let's talk about something else.
Oh, I'm not a representative of the BBC editorial policy. No, you're literally the public face of the company on camera. Nobody's asking you to be a PR spokesperson, but you're involved in the PR in some way. And no, you shouldn't have to answer for all the editorial decisions made by the BBC. But at the very least, you can give an answer as to, we have an editorial department that makes those decisions. And feel free, Elon, to contact them. It would be an interesting topic. I think we all would like to know that. No, instead it's like, no, that's not me. And then just let's move on. Bullshit.
You want to talk about the BBC? All right, let's talk about something else.
You weren't expecting that.
Let's talk about something else.
You weren't expecting that. Let's talk about something else. And then one more clip from this about hate speech here. This is a little bit longer of a clip.
I mean, I would only just add that, you know, we have spoken to people who have been sacked that used to be in content moderation,
oh, you mean the people that were fired, that he bragged that he fired them, and everyone agrees, like, yeah, Twitter's kind of better now. Okay.
We've spoken to people very recently who were involved in moderation, and they just say there's not enough people to police this stuff, particularly around hate speech in the company.
What hate speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter,
right?
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
just a personal anecdote. Like, what do you? I don't.
Personally, my for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content. Yeah, personally, but I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
So you see more hate speech personally?
I would say I would see more hateful content in that.
Content you don't like, or what do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Describe hate speech.
I mean, you know, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist.
Oh, slightly.
So
you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content, and I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I
you
don't.
can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore, because I just don't particularly like it.
You said
a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on a second.
You
said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using it. I've been
got Demon's Wrath in the chat over on Rumble.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen the hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claimed,
you just lied.
What I claimed was there are many organizations that say that kind of information.
Yeah, and those organizations are being sued by Elon.
Give me one example.
I mean, right, and
literally
if you look at something
one.
Like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK, they will say that. So
look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I've already said, I don't use that feed. But
then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know this hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time.
So there you go. Ban random, casual, mildly sexist stuff because we're British and we don't like seeing mean stuff. And again with the just casual putting women and other races, putting people first over just humans, over free speech, over rights. You gotta love it. So we got Texas suing a doctor for violating their gender-affirming care ban. Texas has sued a Dallas doctor over accusations of providing gender-affirming care to youths, marking one of the first time a state has sought to enforce the recent bans driven by Republicans. The lawsuit, announced by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton on Thursday, alleges that Dr. May Lau, a physician in the Dallas area, provided hormones to over 20 minors in a violation of the Texas ban. And again, this article is from CBS News via the AP, apparently. This is the first time Texas has tried to enforce the law. A staff attorney for ACLU's LGBTQ HIV project He said he was also not aware of other states that have tried to enforce similar bans. Today, enforcement begins against those who have violated the law, Paxton's office said in the lawsuit, which was filed in Collin County. Texas law prevents transgender people under 18 from accessing hormone therapies, puberty blockers, transition surgeries. Though surgical procedures are rarely performed on children. Yeah, CBS, thou doth protest too much. Okay, here we go. Selden said that while he couldn't comment on the facts of the case, he said lawsuits is the predictable and terrifying result of the law, which his organization tried to prevent by challenging it. Doctors should not have to fear being targeted by the government when using their best medical judgment, and politicians like Ken Paxton should not be putting themselves between families and their doctors, Zeldin said. Lau is an associate professor in the pediatrics department at UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas. According to the UT Southwestern website, the lawsuit said she has hospital privileges at 2 area children's health hospitals. The lawsuit accuses her of falsifying medical records, prescriptions, and billing records to represent that her testosterone prescriptions are for something other than transitioning a child's biological sex or affirming a child's belief that their gender identity is inconsistent with biological sex. Paxton is asking the court for an injunction against Lau and for her to be fined as much as $10,000 per violation. Lau nor UT Southwestern immediately replied to requests for comment on Thursday. Children's Health said in a statement that it, quote, follows and adheres to all state healthcare laws. 26 states have adopted laws restricting or banning gender-affirming care for transgender minors, and most of those states face lawsuits. Federal judges have struck down the bans in Arkansas and Florida as unconstitutional, though a federal appeals court has stayed the Florida ruling. A judge's orders are in place to temporarily block enforcement of the ban in Montana. New Hampshire's restrictions take effect in January. Blah, blah, blah. Signed into law by Governor Abbott. All right. So there you have it, folks. It doesn't pay to break the law. We have an update. We have an update on our favorite hurricane victim. Good old Lieutenant Dan over in Florida has now been arrested. From the AP, the man who gained social media fame with TikTok posts as he was riding out the 2 hurricanes in his boat has been arrested in Tampa. Hillsborough County Sheriff's arrest records show Malinowski, 54, known as Lieutenant Dan, was arrested Friday for trespassing and failure to appear in court on previous charges of operating an unregistered vehicle and having no driver's license. Malinowski rejected pleas from officials to seek shelter and instead remained in his boat during Helene and Milton. Malinowski, whose nickname comes from the character in the movie Forrest Gump, blah, blah, blah. Court records do not list an attorney who could speak on his behalf. So looks like we got another mugshot to add to the Lieutenant Dan gallery. All right, folks, you may be wondering what the title of the video is in reference to. And if you follow me on X, which links down in the description, please follow me on my social media. If you follow me on X, then you saw I reposted with some commentary the following tweet. Periodic reminder that the manosphere is trying to convince young men that the way to get laid is to exude toxicity and the domination of women at all costs. Meanwhile, women keep fawning over Andrew Garfield for his seemingly limitless emotional intelligence and gentleness. And she says this in a retweet of this, movie industry shill post talking about Andrew Garfield here in a vulnerable moment with the puppet known as Elmo, where he essentially just talks about missing his mama, that his mom passed away and he missed his mama. She somehow takes this moment of male vulnerability and applies it to the quote manosphere, trying to convince dudes not to be like this in order to get laid. Well, I kind of addressed the main point over on my Twitter, but let's readdress it again here. A movie star, right? A famous actor who has been in various Hollywood films, television shows. I don't know if I'd call him A-list or necessarily B-list, B- list actor who has stylists and publicists and yeah, women are fawning over Andrew Garfield. Sure. They're gonna. Him talking to a puppet has absolutely nothing to do with the average dude in the dating market. And if you were to have this exact same conversation, let's listen to the conversation.
Hey. Hi. Elmo's going around Sesame Street checking in on everybody. So Elmo wants to know how Andrew's doing.
Oh, I'm so happy to see you, Elmo. You have no idea.
Elmo's happy to see you too.
Well, I'm doing okay, you know.
Yeah? Well, what's going on?
Oh, I don't know. You sure you want to listen?
Oh, Elmo would love to listen.
Oh, I'm just thinking about my mom today.
Okay, now again, I want you to imagine yourself having this conversation with a hot chick that you know.
You know, she passed away not too long ago, and you know, I just miss her a lot.
Oh, I'm almost really sorry to hear that, Mr. Andrew.
Oh no, it's okay. You don't have to say sorry. It's actually kind of okay to miss somebody.
It is?
Oh yeah.
You know, Elmo always feels really sad when he misses somebody.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. But you know, that sadness, it's kind of a gift. It's kind of a lovely thing to feel.
Yeah.
In a way, because it means you really loved somebody when you miss them. And when I miss someone, I remember.
Can you imagine
I miss
saying
my
this
mom?
to a
I
woman?
remember all of the cuddles I used to get from her, all of the hugs I used to get from her. Yeah, just like that. And it makes me feel close to her when I miss her in a strange way. So I'm happy to have all the memories of my mom and the joy she brought me and the joy she brought my brother and my dad and everyone she ever met, everyone around her. So when I miss her, I remember it's because she made me so happy. So I can celebrate her and I can miss her at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Elmo really loves that, Andrew.
Elmo really listens really well. Elmo.
Okay, well, we've had enough of that. Let's bring that down. Now look, my mother has passed away, and I feel a lot of those same emotions Andrew Garfield was just talking about. Those emotions don't frequently come up in the topic of conversation with people I don't like firmly trust with that deep of an emotion. And so I want to address this Julie Lalonde. Please do not harass this woman. To assume that remaining stoic, right? Having frame on your emotions, right? Keep holding your composure. Don't get me wrong, folks. It's okay to feel emotions after your loved one has died. It's okay to grieve and to miss a person. No one expects a man to maintain composure, to remain emotionless completely after the loss of a loved one. But when we men are feeling those emotions, we tend to retreat into ourselves, find outlets for our grief, heal a little bit, so that then when we re-enter the world, we can be stoic, we can be strong, and we can be respected. Because here's the thing. Going back to what that woman was saying at the top of the show about how you men expect us to carry babies and go to work and take care of sick people and blah, 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 and be strong. No. This is the misnomer about the gender divide. You women have never begged us to see that kind of a strength in you. It is okay in our society for women to lose it, to break down, to ask for help. That's essentially what this person is saying here, is that men should feel safe to ask for help and show their emotions. But no, we don't. And it's because of women, because women lose that respect for us. We have found a lot of other ways to respect the strengths that women do have. But we have never demanded that you take on the emotional labor and the physical labor and the societal labor in silence. Men have always been your partner in that. Now, don't get me wrong. There are definitely some femcells out there, female incelibates, and I get the vibe that the older lady in the clip at the beginning of the show may have been a femcel, a woman at an older age, single, had to work her whole life, rightfully upset at the lot life has given her. But let's face it, she's having an emotional breakdown there. An emotional breakdown that, look, if she saw this show and me responding to her, she would accuse me of being emotional. She would accuse me of losing frame or being a whiny male, right? Well, let's address it. What am I asking for? Exactly. Am I asking for help? Am I asking for someone to fix my problem? Am I demanding that somebody has to vote? Vote a certain way so that I feel respected. I'll go ahead and turn this light off. It went dim for some reason. Those are brand spanking new batteries. Anyway, what am I asking for exactly? I'm not asking for anything. I'm asking for the audience to see posts like this and be like, what is this woman asking for? Oh, limitless emotional intelligence and gentleness. Folks, this is the trap of women, right? We saw it with all of the Jordan Peterson interviews from like 4 years ago, right? Where every news outlet on the planet would have Jordan Peterson on and then be like, well, why is there a difference between men and women? And then when he would tell them, they're like, well, couldn't men just be softer? And then Jordan Peterson would rightly respond with, well, no, because men are expected to do certain things in their society because Women are attracted to capable men. And look, I don't care if you're gay, I don't care if you're trans, but let's face it, the population keeps going because of heterosexual romance. So we need women to be attracted to men. And the way Jordan Peterson would say is men need to have the capability of being a monster, but being able to control that monster. And when you inject a lot of emotional display into a man who has the capability to be a violent monster, well, then you're creating chaos. And so you see over here her bio: 6-time award-winning feminist buzzkill, public educator, Franco-Ontarian, so Canadian, French Canadian at that. Rainbow femme, believe in high heels and high standards. Resistance is futile, baby. Yeah, so is spelling. Spelling is futile as well. Look, limitless emotional intelligence and gentleness. You know, I don't want to brag here, but like I've got a little bit of selfishness. I've got a little narcissism in me as a lover, right? I have some ADD, like it's hard for me to remember important shit sometimes. I get things wrong. I make mistakes. And yeah, sometimes I do lose it emotionally. But one thing I've never been accused of, well, I take that back. I was accused by my abuser of not having gentleness. But everyone else who I've ever dated said that I'm a very gentle soul. I'm abrasive, but I'm loving, gentle, kind. And again, I'm not trying to pat my own back here. I'm not trying to say, oh yeah, my partner would brag about me and blah, blah. I'm not necessarily trying to do that. But there's a difference between the emotional intelligence and gentleness that she's talking about and the kind of emotional intelligence and gentleness that I'm referring to when I talk about Jordan Peterson having those debates a few years back. An emotionally intelligent man knows that he can't just talk to random people about missing his mommy. Which, again, shout out to Andrew Garfield, man. I'm feeling for you, bro. And I'm glad that you seem in good spirits and healing from your loss. Almost every day, I'm still taking steps to heal from mine. And that was over 6 years ago. But ultimately, look, we as dudes, we have a responsibility from our society to not put our emotions on display all the time, to not show the hand of what we're feeling in our heart at any given moment. Because we know from our interactions with women, we know that emotions are fickle and ever changing and ever demanding different emotions. Are like cravings for an addiction, right? You never know what you're going to need to sacrifice at the table of emotion. Anyway, so let's get into some dating stuff. This has went viral over the last couple of weeks. I've seen several people bringing this up, debating it. So, it fits right in with the topic here. I wasn't going to cover it because it's getting a little old, but now the USA Today has put up another article on this. She went viral for going on the shortest date ever, shortest first date ever. Now the internet is up in arms. Maggie Smith walked back to her car in stunned silence. She gotten dressed up, applied makeup, made her way to a restaurant for dinner with someone she met on a dating app. They'd been texting for weeks and had spoken on the phone, but this was their first official date. She'd been looking forward to it. The date, however, lasted less than 2 minutes. Okay, let's watch her video on it instead of continuing to read the commentary here.
I put makeup on just for this date, so it better go well. And I'm not posting this probably if it doesn't.
Not posting is probably if it doesn't.
It did not go well.
Okay, and then the next thing, it did not go well, and she posted it. So there you go. Women are liars.
Truthfully, it lasted less than 2 minutes. I walked up, he gave me a hug and said, "Are you hungry? Let's go inside." We went inside. He said, "Actually, can you step outside for a minute?" I stepped back outside and he said, "I'm not trying to offend you, but I'm just not feeling it." So I walked to my car, came back home. Dating when you're fat sucks.
Dating when you're fat sucks. Okay, let's continue to read some of this. Many of us have experienced rejection, judgment, or being mislabeled on a date, and it sucks, says Amy Chan, author of some book. Fuck it. Dating apps have changed the way we treat each other. She had multiple full body pictures on her dating app profile and told her date on their call that she was plus size. He said he was okay with that. So when he rejected her on site in front of a group of people, she felt humiliated. I literally went blank. I almost walked past my car. Didn't even recognize that I was just in a daze. Wow. Guess I should bring the article back up here. It's not that I was heartbroken. I was just really embarrassed that I walk up to this restaurant and this happened. Smith drove home in silence. When she arrived, she recorded a video talking about the date to send a friend. She decided to post it on TikTok and awoke the next morning to find it gotten tons of attention. Amid the varying reactions, Smith's video had sparked debate over dating etiquette. Some argue the man did the right thing by rejecting her early so not to waste more of her time. Others say it was rude regardless. Smith understands both sides but thinks that no matter what he did, how he went about it were hurtful. It's complicated. Everyone also says, well, he didn't waste your time. Would you rather have him sit through a meal and then tell you after? I would have. It hurts much more that someone wouldn't even take the time to get to know me. Well, okay. So let's talk a little bit about this. Yes, she's fat. But she's not fucking Lizzo 1.0, fucking Rosie O'Donnell 1.0. Like, she's got an attractive face. And if she had full body pictures on her dating app and they'd been talking for weeks, like, dude, I don't think this is about her weight. I really don't. I think there's more to this story. But again, so she wants to have this conversation about, well, what's the right thing to do in a situation like that? Again, what I was just saying about men and women. What I was just saying about men and women in the double standards for emotion, for asking for help. I went through a similar situation where I had engaged in an online discussion about women who ghost men, right? You go on a date with them, everything seems fine. You leave the date, right? A couple days later, you send the text, hey, I'd like to see you again. The radio silence. And then it's like, okay, just be honest with the rejection. That's what I said. I said to these people, just be honest with your rejection. And then people responded, well, there's no point. They'll eventually get it. If you engage with them, then you're giving them attention and they feed on it. But yet here you have almost the same situation. That this woman was being rejected and she's mad. She's mad that he was directly communicating with her instead of bullshitting her and giving her more attention. Well, which is it? Should he have just walked away and not said anything? No, she said, no, he should have taken the time to get to know me. Well, I would argue that if you go on a first date with someone and then they ghost you, they haven't taken the time to get to know you. They got to know first date you. And first date you, let me just say, the first date representative of every fucking person is awkward, is nervous, right? They have an agenda to some degree. Now, it's always good to get some communication about what people are looking for in their dating life. But communication is always the fucking key to me. Now, again, we're all different. We all have different personalities. And if you want to ghost somebody, you want to be like this guy and just fucking walk away, you have every right to. Fucking do it. But the etiquette to me would say, just be honest. The guy said he wasn't feeling it. I don't know if that had anything to do. And I'm trying to go through her TikTok here and see if I can find some full body shots of her, because she says it's about being fat. Okay, hang on. We got kind of a pladow here. All right. This is about her unboxing Lane Bryant clothes. Okay, there we go. There's a full body shot. Yeah, she's a big girl. And I could see how this size of a body, yeah, I could kind of see if this size of a body might look different photographed than when your arm's around it. I don't know. Anyway, I had a couple other stories I was going to get into. Here, let's do this one real quick. Let's jump. Moral of the story is fucking communicate with people. Just fucking be honest. Be brutally honest. You know how before I did the whole rant about how we need to bring back shame? Like, this woman was going to paint this guy as the bad guy no matter what. Right? The internet now just believes this guy dumped her because she was fat. He should have just said it. If it's true, he should have just said it. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. You're a little bigger than girls I like to date. He should have just said it. Be blunt. Be honest. Okay. One quick video and then we'll go to Love Don't Judge. One quick video. Here's a person saying they require their guests to use the bathroom in a litter box.
I require all my guests to use the bathroom in a litter box. Hi, my name is Ivy Bloom, and this is my indoor potty area. I used to let my friends use the bathroom in my garden, but I've said
indoor potty area. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a lot of real life friends. Like I said, I'm an abrasive person. I'm an honest person. I communicate a little too much. I mean, I do have friends. I just don't have a lot of them. But some of my social struggles, and again, some of it has to do with the fact that I did retreat so much when my mom passed away. I also have friends that, have moved on, got families, and they don't have a lot of free time. But then I think about people like this, and I'm like, how the fuck do you keep your friends? Someone who's literally pissing in the corner in their own house and telling your friends they have to do the same.
Since learned how
Or doing it in the garden. She had them shitting in the garden outside.
my garden, but I've since learned how unsanitary that is. Before entering the potty area, I require guests to put on these foot covers, and first timers are required to read the rules. The most important rule is
Must
to dig
dig
at
a hole
least
6
inches from an existing stick, because that's where another guest has used the bathroom.
Oh.
It's pretty simple. You just do what you have to do and put your toilet paper on top. I provide guests with charcoal that must be placed inside to help absorb
What the
odors. And
fuck?
once that's placed inside, you cover it up with the litter and mark the spot with the stick. I provide a variety of refreshments and snacks that
Like,
visitors
toilets
can snack on
exist.
while using the bathroom. And yes,
Wait,
there is a
Wait a minute. You were just talking about sanitary, how it's not sanitary to shit outside, but then you're going to tell them, oh yeah, while you're taking a shit here, eat some chips. What the fuck? Look, I'm not going to lie. Like, there's been a few times like I've eaten like a Slim Jim on the toilet. But like, I'm not going to do anything that requires a bunch of like hand repetitive act. Like I'll put a Slim Jim in my mouth and then I won't touch it again. Right? I won't like splash the water. Oh my God.
curtain. Once that's done, they can take the covers off their feet and wash them in this bucket. Then they have to place them in this jar so that the next guest can use them. Once
What?
the guest is
Oh no. Oh no. Like, what's in the jar? Or the bucket, rather. Like, how often do you change out the
they have to
bucket?
place them in this jar so that the next guest can use them. Once my guest is
Like,
done
they're
using
not even dry. Like, you dunk it in the poopy water, because the last booties were poopy too. You dunk it in the poopy water, and then you wad it up and put it in this little glass where it's not getting air. It's not getting dried out. Like, the bacteria in that fucking glass and in that fucking bucket. This woman gets E. coli twice a year, guaranteed.
using the
At least.
bathroom, I require them to sign this journal, and I do respectfully ask for tips.
Okay, now you've gone 3 steps too far. This has got to be a bit. This has got to be a joke. This has got to be fake. Like, you want me to document my bowel movement in your home and give you a tip for the E. coli you just gave me.
Because maintaining this area can get a little expensive.
Wait a minute. Look at that. Look at that tip jar. Hang on. Dig a hole at least 6 inches from an existing marker and only 2 paper towel sheets allowed per use. That's not the way buttholes work. You keep going until there's no more brown. You don't just use 2 paper towels and then pull your fucking pants up. Because if there's still something there, you need to get rid of it. Oh my God. And then number 3, use the log. Okay. Look, my sanity has to just assume this is a shit post or a grift. Okay, I lied. One last video before we do Love Don't Judge here. We got Kanye West. Kanye West to everyone out there who's voting for Trump, right?
I love you guys. I make all you guys the crackers of the days today.
Or not Kanye West, I'm sorry. This is Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, my bad. Antonio Brown to all Trump supporters out there.
I love you guys. I make all you guys the crackers of the days today. Make some noise for yourself.
Sorry, I saw a Kanye thing earlier. Fuck me up. where he was clowning on people. Anyway, yeah. Crazy dudes, both of them. Gotta love them. Okay, so here we go. So those aren't familiar with the segment known as Love Does Admonish here on Mild's Culture Plate. We follow a YouTube channel called Love Don't Judge. And what we like to do on Mild's Culture Plate is examine the reasons these people don't want to be judged and determine whether it really has to do with love or whether it has to do with their own attention seeking. Whether there's something underlying the unique aspects of their relationship, right? Because part of this Love Don't Judge show is they say, hey, here's a unique relationship. You shouldn't hate them for this. And you may have noticed I had the Outlast haters up there before I switched the logo. We do outlast the haters. We don't like haters here. I mean, don't get me wrong. We like haters because you're just fans, right? Haters are fans, but you outlast them. All right. You don't let them affect you. You don't let them wreck you. You outlast them. That's the only thing you could do with a hater is outlast them. Be successful in their face. But the reason these people don't want hate has little to do with their love and more to do with their ego and their attention seeking. And that's why we do this on this show, is to determine what aspects of their relationship can we judge? Can we admonish? Because usually if you're going to go on a show like this, there's something there. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes I have to swallow those words and say, hey, no, these people don't deserve the hate. But here we go. We have racists hate our relationship, love don't judge.
This is Christina. She fell in love with Sam.
We are an interracial couple that get judged.
Since sharing their relationship online, the pair are often exposed to hate.
The hateful comments started coming and like the racist comments.
Like, what's so attractive about him? You should be with somebody white. I didn't even see him at first.
And offline, things are just as bad.
Sometimes if I look on the corner of my eye, I can see the heat come from that person just staring down at us.
I'm Sam. This is Christina. We get hated because...
Okay, here's the thing. Like, interracial relationships, whatever. Do y'all have to dress alike? Like, to me, that's the more offensive thing here. Like, do y'all have to dress alike? The red jacket and the wife beater?
I'm black and Christina is white.
We met on vacation in Cuba. I was with my family. He was with his friends. And I seen Sam at the airport and I just kind of like, I just couldn't stop looking at him. So yeah, and then we ended up going to the same resort.
I got invited to the bar.
And went to the island
when we
for
got
an
there,
island band.
That was Christina. She was sitting across from me and she just looked gorgeous, beautiful. I'm like, oh, I need this. I got to get this one.
It was love at first sight. You know, when I first met her, I was just so in tune with her, like everything that comes with her. Like,
you see, I'm kind of calling bullshit on this because at first glance, like, yeah, she's white, but like, she could pass. I mean, granted, part of that has to do with how she's presenting herself and how she's dressing, but she could pass as not white. And again, I hate getting into the race conversations and acting like it fucking matters, but they're acting like it matters. Like there's this big hateful movement against them. Like,
I wanted to
I
know.
don't see it.
And now we're engaged.
Like some of her mannerisms just come off as white girl trying too hard. So maybe that's it. But like just looking at some of these freeze frames where I've paused, like she doesn't telegraph like Barbie doll. She doesn't telegraph like European or American middle class girl.
My mom was born in Uganda and my dad is from Sudan.
Uganda
I usually
and
just
Sudan.
represent the whole Africa. Like I never want.
Okay, so you're African. What were you doing in Cuba? See, nah, there's always part of the story that gets left out, and I'm always left wondering, like, okay, why were you both in Cuba? It might have just been a resort, right?
I say I'm from here, from this side. So
Exercising my arm.
She came a long way cooking African food. She can make fufu so far.
Fufu is just like a corn flour. It's something that they use instead of bread. They eat it with everything. This fufu is quite different.
What do you
than
mean
how
they?
his mom makes it.
No,
What
it's
do
pretty
you
good.
mean they?
Well,
I was born
just
in
kidding.
Kazakhstan. I came to
She was
Canada,
born in
I think, in
Kazakhstan.
97. The first time I went to Africa, I was really overwhelmed. I went there for 6 months, and we stayed at his family's house in Kampala.
All right.
It was
And
really overwhelming.
You didn't
at
stick out like a
first.
sore thumb
I
there.
just had to adapt
Huh?
to the culture, the food. I was really nervous and shy. However, his family really made me comfortable, and they were really sweet. The hardest thing for me to get used to was the language barrier. Sometimes I just
Okay.
won't understand what they're talking
What's that got
about.
to do with the
Now
haters?
when I go, I feel more comfortable. Like I could just close my eyes and I already feel home there.
right now we're in Canada, so we're gonna be here for a bit. I will say for a couple months, and then we'll be heading out to Gulu, which is in Uganda. We're still trying to figure out where we actually want to live and settle down.
Oh,
some of the things that I adopted from her family is
so what? You're staying at a kitchenette, so you're homeless. Fair enough.
the soup. I find a lot of
Like how do you earn money other than going on shitty reality TV shows like this? Like, how do you earn money? How do you support each other?
Russian love soup.
Oh my God, it's gonna be OnlyFans, isn't it? It's gonna be fun. OnlyFans or Instagram something. Oh my God.
The beetroot soup, that's my favorite, and I think it's very healthy. Russian just love soup, and soup is my favorite. I love soup.
Okay, enough.
I
of food.
adapted his
I'm
African
starving.
culture, the music, and the clothing, and also the food. I love the Afro beats and
Yeah, there we go. I called it. White girl trying too hard.
the actual like traditional music.
And there's the camera.
That's the main point of it. You gotta look stupid.
So what's
You
going
gotta
on,
look
guys? How you
stupid.
guys doing today? We got Nigeria in the house. What's up, Nigeria? We got Canada and
Oh, man, what's going on? What's up, man? You missed me?
Okay, good. That's good. That's good.
Oh man,
when we first
I almost
started
thought she was
posting
about to drop a
online,
soft
we
A.
were trying to just make memory because we love traveling. And then it quickly turned into a lot of hate.
You're a disgrace to your family.
He gets tired of you. He's gone.
I didn't even see him at first, somebody said.
He only uses her. He's after your passport. He definitely cheats on her. Blink 4 times if you need help.
What's so attractive about him? You should be with somebody white.
We kind of just laugh at it all.
So there's like,
'cause
what,
There's really no point in.
3 of those comments were about their racial difference. One was about his race, not necessarily hers. And then one was like, blink if you need help, which I think has more to do with the way they're dressed than their skin color. And the fact that she's putting on so hard of a white girl trying too hard kind of thing, right? I think that's more about that. It's more about her personality coming off faker than a $3 bill. Now, I don't doubt that she genuinely cares and loves this guy. And let's face it, a lot of women will kind of mold themselves to the interests of her surroundings, right? I don't fault her for that. But the internet will clown you for it.
Getting
And you got to expect it. You got to outlast the haters, as we like to say on Miles Culture Plate.
angry because that person is being miserable and hating everybody while we're just having fun and enjoying our life.
Wait a minute. Okay. So again, that's not how trolls work, right? This media narrative that trolls are just miserable incels in their parents' basement, mad at everyone else for having fun. No, they're literally having fun too. And you now feel the need to comment on it, so it sounds like they're making you miserable or touching on an insecurity that you have. You got to outlast the haters, yo.
And I think that's the best way to deal with anything in life is just through like comedy and just laugh. We're just trying to spread love.
He gets it. He gets it.
One time I was on live stream. There was a guy who just keeps on calling me the N-word. You know, you shouldn't be with her. And then all I did was like, hey, how you doing?
Sorry about that, man. No, I'm just kidding. No, I would never do such a thing. But oh, come on now. Of course, it happens. It's the internet. People are gonna inward towers. They're gonna call her the toll payer, whatever. They're gonna be haters. So far, this guy has a great attitude. He's like, yeah, fuck him, right? But again, you're in front of cameras on a reality show. You do have to comment on these things, and they are hateful. Don't call people, folks. Don't call people the N-word on the internet. Don't call people the internet N-word in real life. Don't even think about the N-word. Right? Be an adult. Grow up. But also, the internet's going to be the internet. The internet's full of perverts and children and people who watch anime porn, people who get entertained by VTubers and furries, and the internet's the internet. They're not meant to be understood or liked. And yeah, some of them are frustrated incels bashing on their keyboards. But like I said, they're also trying to find ways to be entertained. And unfortunately, this is one of the ways in which they do it.
How's your day going? I can see you're angry. What's going on with you? Why are you mad at me? He had nothing to say. There was really nothing he had to say. He was quiet. And we had a good conversation.
There
and
we
after
go.
it was like, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys. You guys keep on doing what you're doing. And everybody went about their day. And then
the same guy giving him N-word towers said thank you for the content. You gotta love that. You gotta love that. I mean, essentially that's what I was just saying. Outlast the haters. Because the haters are just fans who can't identify the reason they like you. Or are ashamed of the reason they like you. Because, it's kind of like women who don't want to admit they're in love with serial killers or something. It's like you feel a little guilty and you don't know why and you can't identify it, but you like something. That's how internet trolls are. That's how haters are. You got to embrace them. You got to embrace them because deep down, they're fans of your content.
Right then we knew we could actually take this and actually change the world with it by just trying to show the world that it's okay to be with somebody white. It's okay to be with someone black. It's okay to date whoever that you want to date and be yourself.
That's real close to saying it's okay to be white, which is hate speech in London. So be careful what you're saying there. Because you're in London. That's hate speech. That could run afoul of hate speech laws. You can't say it's okay to be white. Because apparently it's not in London.
We just don't allow all the negative comments to affect us. This made other people stronger in that way.
There's a lot of people out there who looks like me who might be going through the same thing. So just watching me, take all this hate and just being able to just still keep on pushing, it's giving a lot of people hope. Okay, so are you ready to go for a walk?
Yes.
All right, let's go. When we're in public, we get a mixed reaction. There's
mixed reaction
that look at us like, what is she doing with them?
Okay, but in public where, right? Like, be a little more specific about this because this is very generalized. Because you have mentioned being in Africa, you've mentioned being in Cuba, you've mentioned being in Canada and London, and you You say you don't know where you want to settle down, but you've traveled to all these places. Understand, these are radically different cultures. When you say you're getting looks, in what way? Be a little clear. Like, I get it. Like, the shtick here is it's white people who don't want her with a black dude. But like, you have to say that. It's easy to assume that that's the narrative. But if you're not outright calling it out, then there's like, okay, well, they could be, like I said, they could be looking at you for a lot of reasons. The way she's dressed, the way she's coming across as fake. I'm not saying it's fake, but it like I said, it's a try hard.
She pimping her out. Like, what's the
Are you
connection
pimping
here?
her
What's
out?
going on? Going on a trip to Turkey.
I
we
want
had
to know
deal
if
with
anyone's ever
people
said
just
that
kind of
to them.
staring at me and wanting to
Turkey.
take pictures.
Okay, here we go. Turkey.
But we also
Take
got people who just super nice. It's not people who just want to have conversation. There's people who just embrace everything.
Sometimes if I look on the corner of my eye, I can see the heat come from that person just staring down at us.
The funny one was when I was in, Dominican.
No, she's
when
I'm calling bullshit on that. I don't think they're staring you down because you're an interracial couple. I think it's like creepy dudes in some of these countries. You're Turkey. I think it's creepy dudes in some of these countries just staring at your round ass. She's not a completely unattractive woman. Like, she's not my type. But yeah, dudes will stare at an ass like that.
I got approached by a German guy. He's like, hey. And I thought he actually knew me, but he didn't know who I am. And then he's like, oh, can I get a picture? I'm like, okay, cool. Let's take a picture.
He also poked you like you're like some action figure.
He's like, and then he was trying to scratch my skin. And then she's just standing there like, what the heck is going on? Scratch my skin. And then he was playing my hair. I'm like, dude, this is weird. It's very sad, actually, because we live in such a diverse world. Everywhere you go now, you'll see, brown, white, any
it's
colors.
diverse,
So
but there are pockets of
like
homogeneity.
In 2024, it's sad to me. It's the world has a lot of work to do, and I hope in the future it's gonna get better. I think a relationship works because we don't care about the outsiders. I care about her, and she cares about me, and that's all that matters. We just want people to be treated the same everywhere.
No,
we want people to love,
not the same
of color.
If you're an interracial couple that do get judged, just don't worry about it, don't stress about it, and just keep doing you guys and being happy.
Okay, there you have it. There you have it. Racists hate our relationship. Look, racists hate everything. Let's be honest. Racists are there to hate. And we here at Miles Culture Plate outlast the haters. So that's our show for today, folks. Again, thank you for stopping by. Those who were in the chat live, looks like we had a number of viewers at one point. We had our good friend Demon's Wrath stop in and post a chat. Anyone else out there, feel free to come in, say hello. Feel free to show up next time. Let me be honest, folks. I don't know how much longer this show's going to go. I have some opportunities coming up that may interfere with my ability to do this show. This is not a goodbye. But I will say, my plan is to keep doing the show as long as I can continue to do it. There may be an end to this show coming fairly soon. But right now I'm not planning it. So stay tuned for more on that. This Wednesday, it's currently my plan. Those plans might change. This Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central. Keep an eye down on the social media. If for some reason I need to cancel or move the show to a different time or day, I will make that announcement on the social media platforms down in the description. You can find me in all those places. Follow me. Let me know you're there. And look, continue to follow the show, because even if this regular 2 times a week 1-hour show ends, I will still be making some sort of content. So please, if you're new out there, please follow me, uh, and share this off platform. Watch a second video. Do all the things that help out the algorithms to try to help me get more viewers. Because even if the weekly shows end or transform into something else, I will continue to do content, and they will eventually be back in some other form later down the road. But I have some opportunities coming up that I have to say are a little more important than this show. This show takes a good 2 to 3.5 hours a week to do, or twice a week, 2 to 3.5 hours twice a week. So, but about 8 hours a week to do. And, with a full-time job, with all my responsibilities here at home, a loving relationship that I'm in, and, trying to have a social life. And like I said, the full-time job, I'm having to work extra, and I'm looking at potentially getting a second job, to afford some of the, insane inflation and, expenses of life, because I want to continue to do things like travel and take my partner to romantic things, and get bottles of whiskey and comic books, and have the luxuries of life. And it's becoming more and more apparent that if I want to keep doing that, then instead of having this show be a drain on finances, I could be doing something else with those 8 hours a week that could add to my finances. But I still will be making content, and I will still be posting things, and I will. Again, right now the plan is to continue with the show at least for next Wednesday and maybe Saturday. But again, my apologies if that schedule does start to get rocky over the next couple of weeks and it eventually kind of goes away. But for now, the plan is come on back, same bat time, same bat channel, this Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central, right here on Rumble, X, or YouTube, wherever you may be watching. And yeah, click that like button. Click that like button on your way out. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Outlast those haters. Don't get any on you. And if you do, rub that shit in real good. Thank you very much for showing up here. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Miles Culture Plate signing off.